Good afternoon, 10:10 a.m., 9/2 of 2003. Here's that parabolic move in that Apple chart. This is a daily in the MMT platform, and what I would like to just show the MMTs is where we had called that short up there. The 510 puts were the big payday. We can clearly see where we reversed to the 20-day. The half bar support for the calendar 9/3 support, the low is 468.05. That's the low of this bar. The half bar is going to be 481.36. That's going to be the first support level on a daily bar. One of the things that we would look at doing is that the rally started over here with a gap. There were a couple of points. You had the Icahn news in. You had the dog days of August. You can clearly see the news started with the gap, a secondary gap. We did have pullbacks. We ran from the low end of this cycle. Once again, it's going to be 468 or 388 is the low end of this cycle, set on 628 before we went in. And then we came up off of those lows. It was in the July earnings as well. We gapped it up. The Icahn news came out. This thing went parabolically straight up to the highs of, like I said, 513.74, and it had the volatility ranges, but we can go lower. So we're going to buy the dips at the right prices. If we go up and hit the 10-day, we're going to sell short. Now, when we look at things in a 60-minute level, we can clearly see reversal 1 and the deeper reversal, and this is the dog days of August, and we came down here on this 60-minute bar. From a 60-minute level, I'm going to take a look at this bar MMT. That low is 475. Or I mean, that low of the day of the bar was 475. The half bar, like I said, is 481 on this bar right here. So it's 481. That's that lower support level. This half bar right here is about 496. 491, I'm sorry, 491.04. So we're already below that, and this is on a 60-minute level. When I take a look at a standard public weekly chart, this is a weekly chart, we actually tested a major 100-week moving average and sold right into it, and we're below it, and that's why that this particular cycle off of that 200-week was a great buying opportunity. And then the Icahn news and a bunch of other volatility, and they've been repurchased buyback program. They've done it all. It's been out the whole summer. Summer is over, so we're going to be looking at where Apple is on the weekly level. It's not 100% overbought as it was almost over here. That reading on that percent K, that's what the public looks at. That was at 98%. We're not oversold. I mean, we're not oversold yet. We would have to come down a lot lower, but we're falling through the 20-week, and it's pointing down. I mean, that's a 50-week moving average right here at 489.5, and we're below it slightly. On a daily level, we can clearly see that the stock is trying to get some standard support on the low volume in August there. That's the 20-day simple. You can see the green line is a 200-day simple down here. So we're going to look to see if we fall through that 20 is what area of support do we get. So we do know what the half bar is. That's 481 in our system. This is just a public view of a daily chart, what the public makes theirs on. We already looked at our MMT. We can see here in the 60-minute level, every move higher we have sold down. Rally up, and we made the lower lows right back where this major support level is going to come into play September 3rd on Apple Computer. One of the things that we'll be looking at is a September regular contract. We'll scroll down here and we'll take a look. If we were to sell down, we would take a look at the 380 call on the chart. This is a regular. Here, let's make sure we have the right one. So let's go to this 380 right here. Not the 380 call, the 480 call. I'm sorry. The bracket changed on me. So here, let's get down here to the 480s. That's where I had it right here. So it'd be this one. And we're going to take a look at the 480 call that went from, this is a great place to buy it, back over here. This is when it was wholesale, and that was on 8.9. And that low was $4 and they went to the high of $39, and now we're back here. So if Apple sells down lower, then this particular call, the 480 call, and Apple will drop in value. They got totally inflated and had to come down, but they were really super wholesale, like we've showed today in other live videos. We remember buying the calls, didn't get them at the low over here. We got them after the Icahn news came out, but it doesn't matter. Listen, I'm going to set alarms out on this particular call depending on how Apple trades, how Apple will trade based on its daily performance and that 60-minute performance that we are talking about. And what does the 60-minute do is that you can clearly see, again, this is the MMT platform, is we're going to look at if we get a gap where that support level would be in our system down here. So if we get down here to, let's say, 1 1/2 delta is 483 in our system. That's $3.63 lower. We're going to be looking at where we would get support, like I said, at that half bar. If they sell the calls down, I will give lower bids. These can still come down lower in value. They are not wholesale at all. So we only like to buy them when they really get in the wholesale ranges down in here. Buying them up here has a high degree of risk. We'll monitor it throughout the September period, and once again, we'll recap the Apple chart that you can clearly see where the reversals were up here and where those support levels are going to be right above the 480 handle in the short term. If we break it, we go lower in September. Price volatility will increase, headline volatility will increase. What we will look to find out is any move up. Say we move back up and we have to start looking at a secondary trade. It's going to be the put side. Let's take a look at let's say we rally from, let's say we go up to 495 in the name again in September. Let's take a look at the put option. That put option was cheap. It's already moved up $8 off of the bottom. So we'll be looking at the 495 put in the money. If we were to rally up there, we would take a look at, once again, we will monitor the 485 put, which made a low right here. That low was 650, and then we ran them on up here to the highs of $14. So the thing, or $13 and some change, actually the high was 1402 to be exact. So that's the range side of the 485 put. The 490 puts, which we're going to be looking at extremely carefully, is that these put options have made a move. There's room for them to go higher. I mean, the put side of the market, based on the 490 at resistance, they were cheap. They were on sale there at 685, and you know, they made a high over here of 1745. So that put side had a 3 good day trade in there in August when the equity name itself, here's that 60-minute, when that equity name was selling down, that's when these puts hit their bottom and made their move. So we'll be looking at both sides very carefully in the month of September, regular expiration on the Apple puts. I'm going to conclude that the Apple chart is tradable off the bottom at support levels. We're watching that 20-day simple. That's going to be the most important thing. On the weekly level is how much further do we go below the 20-week moving average. That was a great run on a weekly level. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 month. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 months. Apple had a great move up there off of those bottoms that we were calling for in here when it didn't want to break them. So this weekly chart is telling the tale. That's the conclusion. That is the put side, call side, all right here for monthly. We'll trade the monthly September regular, and we'll even take a look at some short-term weekly ones that we'll do with the MMTs in the option division. Once again, it would behoove you to visit us at where? StockMarketFunding.com. There, you're going to find out everything that you really need to know. And what you need to know is click on the SMF Options Exchange. Look at, read the page. You get 15 to 1 buying power. We do give that. Click on the free trial. You can get involved. You can see where we call market tops. You can go to the trading page there, home page there. You can see all the analysis that we say before the fact. Here's other analysis that we call reversal down in price. Look, it's all here. September is going to be a month for the bear, and there'll be part of it will be for the bull as well. But we're going to be looking for things on sale because the month of September is going to be a rocky road for the retail investor.